So welcome back, guys. On this practice, we're going to look at resizing things and making things bigger. It's something that students quite often like to do, and it's a little bit more difficult than you might assume. Your assets are your assets, so if you get an asset and then start to mess around with its size, it will affect it wherever you have it. To sort of explain that, say you have 30 frames and you want Pokemon, if you want Pikachu to be small, he's going to be small on every frame, and if you make him bigger, he's going to be bigger on every frame. So a way around this is to have different sized versions of your particular asset, to do it that way. So you can see here that I've got a tiny Pikachu, and then I've got a bigger Pikachu and a bigger Pikachu, and then the biggest one. Okay, and I've got a rolling hill, so let's guess what I'm going to be getting Pikachu to do. But you can see that I've got all these different versions, whereas if I just used this one particular Pikachu and I resized him, yeah, you'd think, oh, well, that's okay, I'll just make him bigger in the next frame and bigger in the next frame. What you're actually doing is you'd be making every version of this Pikachu bigger. So I'll show you what I mean, and it will all sort of start to make sense. Okay, so if I work with this big Pikachu at the moment, okay, so say for example I just wanted him to start off tiny, so just using that transform tool to make him really small. Okay, so I've got him and he's really small there, and I create a new frame because I want him to go from there to here. Okay, so I want to go from there to here, and in this one I want him to be a little bit bigger. Okay, can you see where we've got the problem? Because if I make it bigger here, transform, enter. Okay, so I've made him bigger there, but if I go back to here, he's bigger. Can you see? Okay, so that's why we need to have the different versions. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm just going to put him back. So I was getting a little bit pixelated with all that shrinking and growing. Okay, so I've got my 3 different sizes, and that's all you need to do. You just need to make sure that you've got an asset for each section. Okay, so I'm going to start with my smallest Pikachu. Okay, so what I want to do is I want my small Pikachu to go from here to here. So I've got my first frame, create a second one. Okay, and I'm going to move him on the second one to here. So he's going from there to there, and perfect opportunity to use the tween. I'm not going very far, so I'm thinking maybe 8 frames, and I can see him run around the hill. There we are. So he's run from there to there. Okay, and then I can always, move him a little bit more sort of sporadically, just by going in and just going slow and moving it a little bit. It can just sort of take away a little bit of the fluidness that can make it look a bit robotic if you do that. Okay, so I've got my Pikachu. So at this point, this Pikachu is going to be too small. So what I want to do is bring in the next size Pikachu and take the other Pikachu out. Before I do that, I want to make sure that I create a new frame that's identical. Okay, and on the new one, I'm going to take old Pikachu out, or rather small Pikachu out, and put the bigger Pikachu in. Okay, and I'm just going to maybe there. Okay, so he's gone from that to that. Okay, but I mean, I'm thinking he might be a little bit too big there, so maybe that. Okay, so let's see where we're at. So we got him to him. All right then. So I'm going to just create a couple of new, because he's sort of gone off the path a little bit, so I'm just going to move him over a little bit, create a new frame, move him over a little bit. And I can do this to move him. You know, if I want him to sort of follow the path a little bit more truly. And at this point I'm thinking, okay, perhaps at this point he should be getting a little bit bigger. So I can create another frame. So I've got two exactly the same. And then I'm going to take him out and add the next size one. So it's going to go from that to that. And again, I'm thinking that perhaps this Pikachu might be a little bit big. I might make him a little bit smaller. So let's see where we're at. So we got, that's a bit better. Okay, so now I want to create a new frame, and I'm going to move him a little bit closer, and a new frame. And you can use your cursor keys to do this. If you want to do it quite carefully. So you can see I'm like literally just using the cursor to go a few at a time. Okay, right, so I've moved him along, and now we're getting a little bit closer to, I might just add another, there we go. So let's see how we're going. So he's starting off down there, he's getting bigger, he's getting bigger, and that's as far as we've got so far. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the end. Okay, so let's see the bigger one. Oh, that's pretty good timing, that is, isn't it? Okay, so I want to get rid of the smaller one and show the bigger one. I want to make sure I'm doing it in about the same place. Don't want to end up with a Pikachu showing, two Pikachu showing at the same time. I can just about see that tail there, but nobody will notice that. Okay, so I'm getting rid of that one. So we've now got smaller Pikachu, bigger Pikachu. Okay, and then I can add some more frames to move in. Along. Okay, so I've now got him basically at the front, and I want him to sit up. Okay, so that's when I need to swap him for the sitting version. I know he's not the same one. If you wanted to, you could leave this bit out. So yeah, so you could get him to sit up, Or, in fact, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll just create another frame. So I've got two that are the same. And on these two, what I'm going to do on this last one is I'm going to get him to scamper off over here, off the screen. So he's going to go from there to off the screen. Okay. And I'm going to do a nice tween for that. So maybe 15 frames. There you go, that's nice and quick, isn't it? So let's have a little look at how our Pikachu's going. So it's just loops. So it's gone back to the beginning. There he is, running over the hill. Running bigger. Running bigger. And then squirreling off. Okay, so that's how you can make things bigger. Like I say, if you just added something, or if I changed how any of these Pikachus looked here, it will affect every frame that they're on. That's how they link together. Okay, so I'm hoping that that makes sense. Have a play about with it. Just have your assets ready before you go. So if you open up this Pokemon animation kit again, yeah, and then have a go resizing Pikachu. You can either get them to sit up or run off or scamper around wherever you want once you've done this one, but have a play and enjoy yourselves. Okay, thank you.